is taught through.
Good morning. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. Hope you had a great weekend. Here we go.
Doctor of Discernment is on the air.
I love the Greg Belfrage Show.
I've been listening to you for years, Greg. Thanks for all you do and keeping us informed.
You sound a little taller on radio.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Americans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser. Americans play to win all the time. I don't believe in the no-win scenario.
This is the Greg Belfrage.
Good morning, my friends. The marketplace of ideas is open. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show, Monday, March 10th. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. The big stories this morning, the president saying that the United States has just about lifted the intelligence pause on Ukraine, and also saying that his administration has to do anything it can to get the Ukrainians serious about making a deal to end the war with Russia. And so the president on Air Force One last night said, I say they don't have the cards. Nobody really has the cards, the president said. Russia doesn't have the cards. What you have to do is you have to make a deal, and you have to stop the killing. It's a senseless war. We're going to get it stopped, the president said. So Friday said Fox News saying that the situation, the U.S. was continuing to share some defensive intelligence with Ukraine, trying to help them protect themselves from some of the Russian strikes. So the president was asked, would he consider lifting the intelligence pause on Ukraine? And he said, well, we just have. I mean, we really just about have, the president said. We want to do anything we can to get Ukraine to be serious about getting something done. He said he believes that Ukraine will sign that minerals deal. That's the one that Vladimir Zelensky had come to Washington, D.C. week before last to sign and left without inking the deal. So the president saying he still believes that Ukraine is going to sign that. And then the president was asked, well, how can Ukraine show that they actually want peace? And he said, I think right now they haven't, but I think they will be. I think it's going to become evident over the next 2 or 3 days, the president said. This week, hundreds of people died in cities in Ukraine, and we got to get it stopped. It would have never happened if I were president, he said. So the president was answering questions of reporters then for about 10 minutes. I think that 10 minutes probably was more than Joe Biden did the entire time he was president. The president said he and his team have been looking at their options, but his focus is on the big meetings coming up in Saudi Arabia, which will include Russia and Ukraine. And he said of this, we'll see if we can get something done. A lot of people died this week, as you know, in Ukraine, not only Ukrainians, but Russians. So I think everybody wants to see it get done. We're going to make a lot of progress, I believe, this week. The president was also asked what he would say to Americans watching their retirement accounts free fall because of the tariffs and concerns. And the president said that the tariffs are going to be the greatest thing we've ever done as a country. He said it will make our country rich again. This is one of those issues where there's a lot of fighting taking place over the tariffs, and you're seeing people reacting to the president's stance on tariffs. He was asked about recession because he's been asked that question a couple of times. He hesitated on the question when he was asked by Maria Bartiromo of Fox Business. And the president said, of course you hesitate. All I know is We're going to take in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs. We're going to become so rich, you're not going to know where to spend all that money. I'm telling you, you just watch. We're going to have jobs. We're going to have open factories. It's going to be great. There are a lot of people who are saying, in fact, that is not the case. They are very concerned about, and you're seeing that in the reaction then from other countries. So Newsmax has also got a story on this. And I mentioned Maria Bartiromo on Sunday Morning Futures. And the president was asked then about recession in 2025. Will we see a recession this year? President said, I hate to predict things like that. There is a period of transition because what we're doing is very big. We're bringing wealth back to America. He said, that's a big thing. And he said, it takes a little time. It takes a little time, the president said. So will we see a recession this year? The president being asked that question, not only by Maria Bartiromo, but by others on board the onboard Air Force One with the president. And he said, the tariffs could go up as time goes by, but they may go up. And, I don't know if it's a predictability, he said, as to whether or not the tariffs will go up. So there are more tariffs that are coming this week. According to Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, he told Meet the Press that 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum imports will take effect coming up this Wednesday. And so he said that the president's threatened tariffs on Canadian dairy and lumber will wait until April. And he said, will there be distortions? He's talking about the market. Will there be distortions? Of course. Foreign goods may get a little more expensive, but American goods are going to get cheaper. You're going to be helping Americans by buying American. So that is a big story this morning. Tariffs, the prospect of higher prices. Also, this is, international news really, but Canada's Liberal Party, Mark Carney, has been elected or has been chosen, I should say, to succeed Justin Trudeau as head of Canada's Liberal Party. So this happened yesterday. And as you know, outgoing Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced that he would be resigning. He said this back in January. And so Carney is the former head of the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England. He has no prior political experience, but he has the support of numerous cabinet officials in Canada, members of parliament. And so Carney, with some tough words for America, let's go to the New York Post. They say that Carney immediately takes shot at Trump over trade war, and as well as Donald Trump's 51st state comments. So he overwhelmingly won the race then to lead the Liberal Party. And he won 86% of the vote. 86% of the vote. So Carney didn't waste any time going after President Trump. He said America is not Canada, and Canada never, ever will be part of America in any way, shape, or form, he said in his speech. We didn't ask for this fight, but Canadians are always ready when someone else drops the gloves. The Americans want our resources, our water, our land, our country. Think about it. If they succeed, they will destroy our way of life, Carney said yesterday. So he's reacting very strongly to comments the president has made recently. And I think some of those recent comments honestly were meant to I mean, if I had to speculate, I would think it was meant to get the goat of Justin Trudeau. And then Trump even saying last week, is true, it occurs to me that Trudeau's not going to step down. Well, he is. And Mark Carney now has been elected. But I think the president was just trying to get under the skin of Justin Trudeau. So we'll see. So Carney has never run for elected office before. He promised during the campaign a dollar for dollar retaliatory tariffs against the U.S., saying that Canada's growth under Trudeau was not good enough. So he is Canada's new prime minister. Other stories this morning. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, has now joined a growing list of federal agencies who are offering employees a voluntary separation officer. Excuse me, not officer, offer. Voluntary separation offer. Most of the agency's 80,000 employees received an email with a buyout option at $25,000. So they had to, and they will have to respond to this. So this was actually reported yesterday that most of HHS, they've got 80,000 employees. Most of their employees received an email with a voluntary separation offer, again, worth as much as $25,000. So will we see more people than employees of the federal government leaving as a result? Also, the Department of Government Efficiency revealed that over 300 million, you remember the COVID-19 relief funds? Over $300 million in those COVID-19 relief funds went to children. So DOJ said they found thousands of cases where these loans were granted to children. DOJ reported that the SBA made roughly 5,600 loans totaling $312 million to debtors who who were 11 years old or younger at the time of the loan. The loans were made in 2020, 21. And so the agency said, while it's possible to have business arrangements where this is legal, it's highly unlikely for you're talking about almost 6,000 loans, as they all used a social security number with the incorrect name. So DOJ and SBA are working together to solve the problem, they said. Also, Kristi Noem was on Face the Nation yesterday, and she was talking about carrying out President Trump's agenda, finding people who have come into the country illegally and saying that they will be prosecuted. They could face up to 10 years in federal prison, she said. So she was on CBS's Face the Nation. She said that DHS officials have started giving employees polygraph tests. They're trying to identify people who might be giving information to the media about what's going on. Specifically, what they think some are doing is they're giving information about immigration raids. So they're planning immigration raids, and then you have people within the Department of Homeland Security, it's believed, who are then leaking that information and getting it out there and making it public. And they want to find who these people are. So Kristi Noem said anyone who's leaking information outside of how something is planned for the safety of those law enforcement officers needs to be held accountable for that. The authorities that I have under the Department of Homeland Security are broad and extensive. And I plan to use every single one of them to make sure we're following the law, that we are following the procedures in place to keep people safe, and that we're making sure we're following through on what President Trump has promised, that he's going to make America safe again. So and I look at some of these stories. It's really, I'm interested in what she said, because the media just really gets off into issues that have absolutely nothing to do with what she's talking about. So she said she plans to file for an investigation by the Justice Department. She wants DOJ to pursue felony prosecutions for people involved. And she had said that previously, and she echoed that then on Face the Nation. She said, these two were leaking our enforcement operations that we had planned, and we're going to conduct in several cities and expose law enforcement to vulnerabilities, to those ops being jeopardized, to where those lives would be in danger. So they will be prosecuted, and they could face up to 10 years in federal prison because they did that. So going after the people who are leaking this information out there. There was a related kind of story regarding this. Yeah, I don't know that I've got it right in front of me. We've got to talk about this morning, caught my eye. This is from FoxNews.com about a high-end vacation spot where children will not be allowed. So in other words, you want to go to this vacation spot, no kids allowed. And they're saying they want a tranquil environment then for the people who are vacationing. So basically, it's an adults-only resort. And guests would have to be 18 and over. You know, we have seen similar kinds of things over time, and we have talked about it before. Every now and again, you see restaurants that say, we don't want children. We don't want children because it's a distraction. In this case, they're saying we want to appeal to adults rather than families, so on. That always catches my attention. There are a number of other big stories this morning. Tom Holman saying that he's going to sanctuary cities such as Boston, bringing hell with me, he said. He visited with Breitbart News Saturday. And he said, well, we're going to Boston. I made a commitment at CPAC. I was going to go to Boston and bring hell with me. He said, I meant it. I said it. And he said, he made the statement right after I talked about 9 child sex predators that ICE took off the streets of Massachusetts in a short time frame. So when I say I'm coming to Boston, bringing hell with me, yeah, I'm bringing hell to illegal aliens that rape children. So I stand by what I said. I meant what I said, and I'm going to do it. And then he said, the mayor of Boston, she made some comments last week that were just, beyond, they're not just head scratchers. I mean, they're like, what? Are you nuts? I mean, and Holman reacted to what the mayor of Boston said. And he says, she's obviously lost her mind. She should agree. There's no sanctuary for child rapists. So he said, someone who sexually assaulted a child is the worst of the worst of the worst. So yeah, I'm going to Boston and I'm bringing hell with me, he said. I'm bringing hell to every illegal alien who commits a serious offense in this country. especially those who attack our most innocent, our children, he said. Every elected mayor, every elected governor, every elected city council person, what's your number one job? What's your number one responsibility? Protection of their communities. So why would you not help us remove public safety threats to neighborhoods? That's your number one moral responsibility. I don't get it, but I just think they've lost their mind. I think politics over public safety is politics over common sense. I can't think of any other reason. And that's a look at the big stories this morning. Thanks so much for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show at 626. Currently mostly clear, 32. And this hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
Ben Robbins, weekdays at 2. Callow, News Talk 1320, 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is sponsored by Tires. The
Okay.
tire and automotive store.
Bring charm from the outdoors into your home with Renewal by Anderson Picture and Combination Windows.
Hope you had a great weekend.
Get to your living room from ABC Seamless of Sioux Falls. Call 605-646-2667 today.
Let's ABC Seamless.
Swenson Advisors is introducing Grain Insight, taking the guesswork out of grain marketing. Join us for a 30-minute presentation on March 24th or 25th at our Sioux Falls location. Call 605-335-5570. Seating is limited. Again, 605-335-5570. Grain Insight, because timing is everything.
The Greater Sioux Falls Chamber of Commerce didn't start our thriving business community. That was done by individuals driven to create their dreams.
Hey, Steve.
Boutiques, boardrooms,
Morning,
and the
Chief.
Back 40. We're in the business of connecting the creators through advocacy, leadership development, inclusion, and promotion. The Greater Sioux Falls Chamber of Commerce. We're standing at your side when nothing's going to stand in your way.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money. That was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you gotta check out Consumer Cellular. Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or consumercellular.com today. Real people pay to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and easily.
Okay.
Are you a creative thinker with a passion for radio? We're looking for a part-time producer to join the Greg Belfrage Show team. I'll rely on you to screen phone calls and help me get the best out of our callers. Candidates need some digital skills. This is a 25-hour-a-week part-time position. Send your resume to kellojobs@mwcradio.com or mail it to KELO AM, 500 South Phillips Avenue, Sioux Falls, South Dakota 57104. Midwest Communications is an equal opportunity employer by choice.
Partly cloudy skies today and very mild. Our high near 70 with a west wind at 15 to 25 miles per hour. For tonight, low temperature 25. Tomorrow, cooler, high at 46. Partly cloudy skies. On Wednesday, we're back to 63, 70 on Thursday. That's your weather update.
And in Sioux Falls at 6:30, mostly cloudy skies, 34 currently at Kello. Joe Bowman is on duty in the Kello.com News Center. Coming up, motorcyclist lost his life in a crash in Sioux Falls over the weekend. Also, a fire burned down a family's home here in this city. Always sad news. Sioux Falls man assaulted, suffering a traumatic injury. Joe will have details on those stories coming up for you in moments. You're listening to the Greg Belfrage Show.
China's tariffs on American
Food imports take effect today, the latest retaliation for President Trump's new import taxes.
This includes imports of chicken, soy,
Okay.
and pork. But according to China's Commerce Ministry, products that are already in transit will be exempt until April 12th. Beijing firing back after President Trump raised tariffs on imports of Chinese products to 20%.
Fox's Kristen Goodwin. President Trump says a pause on intelligence sharing with Ukraine is just about lifted, with Ukraine, he says, getting more serious about pursuing peace with Russia.
You know, I say they don't have the cards. Nobody really has the cards. Russia doesn't have the cards. They don't have. What you have to do is you have to make a deal.
Secretary of State Rubio leads talks with Ukraine about ending the war starting tomorrow in Saudi Arabia. Canada's Liberal Party elects banker Mark Carney to become the country's next prime minister, replacing Justin Trudeau. He's stepping down. America's listening to Fox News.
Kello News Time, 6:31. I'm Joe Bowman in the Kello.com News Center. Yesterday afternoon, emergency crews responded to a crash on East 56th Street and South Glenview Road. An individual adjacent to the roadway was found with life-threatening injuries, and a motorcycle was located nearby. The investigation revealed a single motorcycle with driver had crashed. The adult male succumbed to his injuries on scene. A structure fire broke out on the block of 1100 North Main Avenue Sunday morning. Fire crews arrived on scene to find a single-family home engulfed in flames. All the residents got out, but 2 sustained injuries. One was taken to an area hospital. Crews extinguished the blaze in about 30 minutes. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. A Sioux Falls man was assaulted, suffering a traumatic injury. Sioux Falls Police Department responded to the 800 block of East 8th Street Saturday evening, where they found a male that was suffering from a head injury. Police say the male had been assaulted, but exactly why is unclear. The male victim was transported to a local hospital to be treated for his injuries. The investigation is still ongoing. The flow of illegal immigrants is sharply lower since President Trump took office. Now Senator John Thune says it's time to help law enforcement get a handle on the amount of deadly drugs crossing the borders.
Illegal drugs continue to plague too many communities and take too many Americans' lives. More Americans die of drug overdoses each year than Americans who died in the entirety of the Vietnam War.
Senator Thune is ushering the Halt Fentanyl Act through his chamber. He says the measure has good bipartisan support in Congress and among law enforcement officials. In Summit League tournament play, the Jackrabbits lost to North Dakota 85-69 on Friday, and the Coyotes fell to number 1 seeded Omaha Mavericks on Saturday, 100-75. But on Sunday, the Lady Jacks won their 12th Summit League tournament title, beating number 2 Oral Roberts 84-68. From the Kello.com News Center, I'm Joe Bowman.
The news never stops. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
Weather brought to you by Intech Cleaning and Restoration. If you need it clean, call the Intech team. IntechClean.com.
A very warm day today.
Excuse me.
70 degrees this afternoon. A west wind at 15 to 25 miles per hour. Turning colder and windy this evening. Low temperature 25. The wind up the north gusting to 35 miles per hour. Tomorrow will be cooler, high in the mid-40s, but will rebound Wednesday back to 60 degrees. From the Storm Center at Kibble-Land TV, I'm Brian Karstens.
Where the most important viewpoint is yours. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
An extortion demand through email is no longer rare, but the latest generation of cyber criminals have decided to bypass computer networks in email. They're licking stamps and sending frightening extortion demands through the mail. I'm Kim Commando for Oracle. Cut your current cloud bill in half. Move to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. See if your company qualifies at oracle.com/can. These extortion letters are not the clumsy, misspelled messages coming from Nigeria or India. They're official looking, sent through the U.S. Postal Service to a company's top brass. If the company fails to pay a $300,000 ransom in Bitcoin by a certain date, then the criminals say they will paralyze the company's networks. A QR code is even provided for easy payment. So far, no one has paid, and there have been no attacks. This kind of mail violates several federal laws because it was sent by mail. So call the postal authorities, and whatever you do, don't pay. Always be tech ahead by getting my free newsletter. You're going to love it. Sign up right now at getkim.com. Even if you think it's a bit overhyped, AI is suddenly everywhere, from self-driving cars to molecular medicine to business efficiency. If it's not in your industry yet, it's coming fast. But AI needs a lot of speed and computing power. So how do you compete without costs just spiraling out of control? It's time to upgrade to the next generation of the cloud. Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI. It's a blazing fast and secure platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, plus all of your AI and machine learning workloads. OCI costs 50% less for computing and 80% less for networking. Thousands of businesses have already upgraded. Oracle's offering to cut your current cloud bill in half if you move to OCI. Offer ends March 31st, 2025. See if your company qualifies for this special offer at oracle.com/Kim. That's oracle.com/Kim. Oracle.com/Kim. Oracle.com/Kim.
The Kim Commando Show, live Saturday mornings at 9. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is sponsored by Tires, with 2 locations to make sure you have the proper traction this winter.
On your way. For 2 days only, you can save 20% off everything at Lewis. They're celebrating customer appreciation and the 1-year anniversary of Lewis at Madison and Veterans Parkway. Save $20 on resin, plastic, Adirondack chairs. Assorted colors now $9.97, and you save an additional 20% off. This Saturday and Sunday only, save 20% off your entire purchase. At any Lewis, some exclusions apply. See stores for details.
Lewis, your first stop.
It's a Celtic celebration. Irish eyes will be smiling as the South Dakota Symphony celebrates the wearing of the green with timeless Irish favorites. Danny Boy, music from Titanic, Finian's Rainbow, and Riverdance. Purchase your tickets online at sdsymphony.org or call today 605-367-6000. This Saturday at 7:30, St. Patrick's Weekend at the Washington Pavilion.
Joe freaked out when I came out of the restroom.
A Celtic celebration. Call 605-367-6000 for tickets.
Do you hear that? Asthma triggers are everywhere, from dust mites, head dander, and pollen, to smog and smoke. An asthma attack can strike anywhere, anytime. Be prepared with quick-acting Primatene Mist, clinically proven to open airways quickly. It's the #1 FDA-approved asthma inhaler available over the counter. Primatene Mist. Breathe easy again. Use as directed. Sponsored by Armstrong Pharmaceuticals.
Protect your home and auto with a bundle from Progressive so you can stop worrying about them and invent new things to worry about, like snakes in your bedroom. Sure, that sounds incredibly irrational, but now that we've mentioned it, you are a little worried. The odds of one snake, let alone snakes plural, are so slim. But you might want to check. Oh, you're not near your bedroom. Guess you'll just have to sit there and worry about it. So let Progressive protect your home and auto, because you've got enough to worry about. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Every day, you've got places to go and things to do.
No matter where you're going or what you're doing, you can always listen to Kello on your phone.
Entertaining talk, news when it happens, good things to know when you're on the go.
Listen to Kello wherever you are with the free Kello AM app. Kello Music.
.639, mostly clear. 34 currently at Kello. Oh, poor Joe Bowman. I come around the corner out in the hallway. And, oh no! I thought he was going to have a stroke. I scared him so badly. We both started. I started. You walk the hallways of our building at this time of the day and you're not used to seeing other people. Poor Joe. I just frightened him so badly. Sorry, Joe. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
What's trending now?
Them on Facebook.
Let the tweeting begin. The hashtag does that. News and views from Belf's News Gallery.
Well, the Department of Homeland Security announced on Friday that they have terminated their collective bargaining agreement with TSAs security officers. This is the Transportation Security Administration. So TSA has about 50,000 security officers. And according to a DHS press release, the administration hopes the move will remove bureaucratic hurdles then, and as well as remove the constraints then of collective bargaining. And a lot of this gets into, they said TSA has more people doing full-time union work than we have performing screening functions at 86% of our airports. Of the 432 federalized airports, 374 airports have fewer than 20 TSA officers to perform screening functions. So they are eliminating the collective bargaining agreement then to try to remove what they're calling bureaucratic hurdles. Also trending this morning, the former governor of the Bank of Canada, Mark Carney, will become Canada's next prime minister. He won the Liberal leadership race last night. Carney told supporters that Canada never, ever will be part of America in any way, shape, or form. And he said that Canada's tariffs against the United States will remain until the Americans show us respect, and added that Canadians are always ready when someone else drops the gloves. Also, there's a search for a University of Pittsburgh student that is trending this morning. She went missing Thursday. She's on spring break in the Dominican Republic. She'd been missing since Thursday. 20-year-old who was last seen just before 5 a.m. Thursday at her hotel. And according to a social media post, a Dominican Republic search and rescue force, they're saying she was last seen walking on the beach before her disappearance. So they're searching for her. Also, the U.S. Secret Service shot a man close to the White House overnight on Sunday in an armed confrontation. Secret Service said that local police had reported that a suicidal individual was potentially traveling to the D.C. area from Indiana, and they located the individual's vehicle, found a person then who matched the description, and they who was on foot nearby. And they say as officers approached, the individual pulled out a firearm, and there was an armed confrontation. Shots were fired, and those are all the details in that story. Also, Air Force fighter jets intercepted a civilian aircraft flying in the temporarily restricted airspace near the president's home in Florida on Sunday. So that's brought the number of violations to more than 20 since the president took office on January 20th. NORAD said in a statement that this incident took place as the president finished a round of golf at his West Palm Beach golf course, saw F-16s deploy flares to get the attention of the civilian pilot. Jets also conducted an intercept Saturday morning, shortly after the president arrived at the course from his private residence and private club. Also, ICE agents have arrested a former Columbia University student, a prominent figure, they're saying, in the school's pro-Palestinian protests and student encampments. So his green card now has been revoked by order of the U.S. State Department. His arrest comes a little more than a month after the president signed an executive order targeting green card and visa holders, including students who participate in pro-Palestinian protests. So he served as a student negotiator tasked with meeting with the school's administrators as protests and encampments took shape then at Columbia last spring. So he is out of here. Among other stories trending this morning, the Russian forces crept through miles through a gas pipeline in order to ambush Ukrainian troops. A number of stories on this. So Russian special forces crept miles through a gas pipeline in an attempt to surprise Ukrainian forces. This was part of a major offensive to eject Ukrainian soldiers from the western Russian region of Kursk, according to pro-Russian war bloggers. So miles through a gas pipeline. Also, along those lines, Russia retaking 3 villages in the Kursk border region. So Ukraine facing, and these are sources in the United States saying that, Russia is claiming these advances in Kursk, and Zelensky saying he's committed to talks. The American Conservative has a headline, Ukraine's gamble in Kursk isn't paying off. Also, we're learning more about Gene Hackman's death. Gene Hackman died of heart disease a full week after his wife died from hantavirus in their home. He may not have been aware that she was dead because Hackman was showing severe signs of Alzheimer's, according to authorities. So that would make some degree of sense. So she had passed away actually before Hackman, and he was just unaware. And so one doctor, this is the chief medical examiner, said that Mr. Hackman showed evidence of advanced Alzheimer's disease. He was in a very poor state of health. He had significant heart disease, and I think ultimately that's what resulted in his death. So authorities had ruled out foul play. It's kind of an odd situation. Hackman was 95, his wife 65. Their bodies were discovered. There were tests for carbon monoxide poisoning. That was, they wanted to rule that out. That was initially thought that may have been what killed them both. So, again, apparently she likely died a week before he did, is what authorities are saying. And what a sad closure to, I think, an incredible career and an incredible life of Gene Hackman. Also, the Department of Justice has launched an antitrust investigation into egg prices, including whether large producers have been conspiring to raise prices or hold back supply. So the DOJ sent a letter to some egg companies that instructed them to preserve documents about their pricing conversations with customers and competitors. Wall Street Journal reported this on Friday. That story is trending this morning. Also, you remember Ryan Routh, the suspect who tried to wanted to assassinate President Donald Trump at his West Palm Beach golf course, made an appearance in federal court on Friday. So his defense team have argued in court that federal prosecutors are withholding key evidence. I think there are a lot of people that are withholding evidence as to what happened and that whole thing. How did Ryan Routh know that Donald Trump was going to be there on his private golf course that was not widely reported. How did he know Donald Trump was going to be there? How does he know that he's playing? What, waiting in the bushes? There are a lot of odd components to that, and it's pretty amazing that you and I have not learned more. Also, the chairman of the FCC, Brendan Carr, is asking the CEOs of Alphabet and Google for answers regarding possible discrimination against faith-based programming. YouTube TV is refusing to carry Great American Family. Carr posted a letter online Friday addressed to the CEO of both Alphabet and Google, their respective CEOs. And Carr says Great American Media complained to him about the issue. And he noted that several networks, including Comcast and Hulu, do carry the network. So why doesn't YouTube TV? He's looking into it. The nation's capital is planning to plant. Do you remember the Black Lives Matter that in Black Lives Matter Plaza, and they were painted on the street. Now, DC Mayor Muriel Bowser, she announced this last week that they're planning to paint over those. So that move comes as congressional Republicans and the president have threatened to interfere. I don't think it's even interfere. That's the word from USA Today. The president's talked about taking over management of Washington, D.C. That they would just take over management of Washington, D.C. But Bowser said in a posting on X, she said the mural inspired millions of people and helped our city through a very painful period, but now we can't afford to be distracted by meaningless congressional interference. The devastating impacts of the federal jobs cuts must be our number one concern. Therefore, they're going to paint over the spelling in Black Lives Matter Plaza. President on Friday created a task force for the FIFA World Cup. It's the world's most revered soccer competition that will be held in the United States, Canada, and Mexico in 2026. So the president signed an executive order creating the task force while he was flanked by the president of FIFA. And the president and vice president will chair the task force. And they also planning to attend matches, so on. That story is trending. Well, the vice president has become a meme sensation on social media. There are a number of stories regarding this. First post, the post-millennial. So the post-millennials got a story. Here are the best J.D. Vance memes taking the internet by storm. Those are trending. Also, a Jacksonville, Florida man was arrested last month. He made threats against former Vice President Kamala Harris, as well as Minnesota Representative Ilhan Omar on TikTok, later threatening Secret Service agents. So he has, this man is accused then. I think the man left like 19 emails on the Secret Service agent's phone after initial contact. The initial contact came after he made the threats on TikTok, and then 19 voicemails. Wow, there's some issues going on there. Also, a lot of stories that are trending actually are from Friday. And this is one of them that House Republicans on Saturday put forward a continuing resolution that would keep federal agencies operating through September 30th. And they will likely have to pass the bill without any support from Democrats. They opposed many of the budget cuts, as well as extending the tax cuts. Speaker Mike Johnson wants to see the House vote on the bill coming up tomorrow to avoid a potential government shutdown at midnight on Friday. So that'll be a big story this week. Keep your eyes on that. Also, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in the process of launching a study into possible links between autism and vaccines. So the study has not been confirmed, but reports about this are trending, and it's unclear how that study would be carried out. Israel's cut off the electricity supply to Gaza, officials said yesterday. And this includes a desalination plant producing drinking water. Hamas called it part of Israel's starvation policy. And finally, a new Disney series, Win or Lose, is making headlines again, this time because it features an openly Christian character. It's the first time in a number of years that Disney has done that. And that's a look at the stories trending this morning in Belf's News Gallery. Thanks for starting your day with us. Currently mostly clear and 34 this hour of the Greg Belfrage Show. Brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
And conversation go hand in hand.
Well, thank you for letting me start your day. I really appreciate it. Hope you'll come back at 9:30 for the 4th hour. So we'll say so long until then. Hope to see you again soon.